I wasn't alone when I unlocked the door. I didn't hear footsteps behind me. Didn't see a shadow jump in the hallway. Nothing dramatic. Just that feeling, like the air got heavier the second my key turned. It was late, almost midnight. I had stayed too long at my friend's place, watching a movie I barely remember, laughing at parts that weren't even funny. I remember thinking on the walk back to my car how quiet the street was. Not peaceful quiet. The other kind. The kind that makes you check your phone, even though you know you have service. The kind that makes you look at dark windows, expecting someone to look back. I told myself I was being paranoid. I'd had a long week. Work stress, bad sleep, too much caffeine, normal stuff. So I drove home, parked in my usual spot, walked up to my building, and I didn't even look over my shoulder. That's the part that bothers me now, because it wasn't the building that felt wrong. It was me, like I'd already started moving differently, without realizing it, like I was trying to get inside faster, without admitting why. I went up the stairs, second floor. My hallway light was half dead, flickering like it always did, giving everything that cheap horror movie vibe. I remember smiling at that, actually smiling, like, yeah, okay. Creepy hallway, whatever. Then I got to my door, and there was this tiny moment, just a second, where my hand hovered over the knob, not because I forgot my keys, not because I heard something, because the silence shifted, like something was listening. I slid the key in, turned it, the lock clicked, and right then, I felt it. Not a touch, not a breath on my neck, more like a presence settling behind me. The hair on my arms lifted, my stomach dropped, that cold, sinking feeling. I didn't turn around. I don't know why I didn't. Maybe because some part of my brain said, don't give it what it wants. Don't acknowledge it. Don't make it real. So I opened the door, stepped inside, and I shut it fast. Not a slam, just a quick close, like I was trying not to make noise. That's when I realized something I can't explain. The air inside my apartment felt off, not stale, not hot or cold, just wrong, like a room after someone's been standing in it for a long time, and they just left. But the room hasn't caught up yet. I stood there with my hand still on the knob, listening. Nothing. No footsteps in the hall. No elevator. No neighbors. Just the refrigerator hum, the faint ticking of the cheap clock in my kitchen, and something else. Something so quiet I couldn't tell if I was imagining it. A soft, dragging sound, like fabric brushing carpet. I told myself it was my hoodie shifting on my back. I told myself it was the air vent. I took my shoes off, set my keys in the bowl by the door, and that's when I noticed the chain lock. It was hanging, not latched. I always latch it. Always. It's a habit, even when I'm home, even when I'm not thinking. Click, slide, done, but it wasn't latched. I stared at it for a second, and my brain did that thing where it tries to rewrite reality. Maybe I forgot this time. Maybe I was distracted. Maybe. Then I remembered my hand hovering over the knob. That hesitation. Like I knew. I latched the chain, double-checked the deadbolt. Then I walked deeper into my apartment, trying not to rush. My living room looked normal. Couch, TV, a blanket I never folded. Nothing moved. No shadows. I walked into the kitchen, flicked the light on, poured myself a glass of water. My hands were shaking a little. Not a lot, just enough to annoy me. I hated that. Hated the idea that I was scaring myself in my own place. So I did what I always do when I feel stupid. I tried to prove I was right. I checked the peephole. The hallway was empty. I checked the door camera app on my phone. It's not fancy. Just one of those cheap indoor cams I got after a break-in down the street last year. I scrolled back to the last few minutes. Nothing. No movement. No person. No shadow. The camera didn't even trigger. I felt relief. A quick wave of it. See? Nothing. You're fine. And then I noticed the timestamp. The last recorded clip ended 2 minutes before I got home. That was normal. It only records motion. So I swiped back further. Still nothing. Then I tapped live view. My apartment came up on screen, grainy in the low light. I could see my kitchen, the edge of the living room, a slice of the hallway, and I saw myself standing there, phone in hand, looking tired. Then the camera did something it had never done before. The little indicator light on the live feed blinked. Not the real light on the camera, the UI indicator, like the feed skipped. Like it winked. I stared. Tapped again. It blinked again. Then the live view cut to black. Connection lost. I tried to reload it. Nothing. I walked to the camera. Unplugged it. Plugged it back in. The light came on. Solid. I opened the app. The live view worked again. And everything looked normal. No blinking. No black screen. I stood there for a long time, trying to convince myself it was just Wi-Fi. Just a glitch. But the weird feeling didn't leave. It settled. Like dust. I went to bed anyway. That's the truth. I didn't call a friend. Didn't grab a knife from the kitchen and sweep the apartment. I just got tired. I brushed my teeth. I checked the locks again. I turned off the lights. And I got into bed. I remember lying there, staring at my ceiling, listening to the building settle. Pipes, distant traffic, a neighbor's TV muffled through the wall. Normal. Then, right when I started to drift, my phone buzzed. A notification from the camera. Motion detected. I sat up so fast my head spun. I opened the app. New clip. 10 seconds long. I hit play. The video showed my living room. Dark. Grainy. At first, I didn't see anything. Then, there was movement near the edge of the frame. Not a person walking through. More like the darkness itself shifting. like something tall passed between the camera and the far wall, but it didn't have clear edges, just a distortion, a bend in the picture like heat haze. Then the clip ended. My mouth went dry. I watched it again and again. Same thing every time. That slow, deliberate slide of something through the room, and then nothing. I got out of bed. I turned the lights on. I walked through every room, not fast, not slow, trying not to act like prey. Closet, bathroom, under the bed, behind the shower curtain, even though I knew how stupid that was. Nothing. I stood in the middle of my living room with all the lights on, and I waited for my heart to calm down. It didn't. So I did the one thing that always makes people feel safe, even when it shouldn't. I checked the door, chain latched, deadbolt locked, no sign of forced entry. Then I noticed something else. My keys. They weren't in the bowl. I stared at the empty bowl like it was a joke someone set up for me. I swear I put them there. I could see myself doing it. Key ring clinking, the little sound it makes. I looked on the counter, on the table, on the floor. Nothing. My chest tightened. I walked back to the door and looked at the lock again. The key was still in it, hanging there, like I'd never taken it out. I just stood there, staring, because my brain couldn't hold two realities at once. I remembered putting the keys in the bowl, but there they were, still in the door. I pulled them out with shaking fingers and set them in the bowl, slowly, like I was handling something fragile. Then I stepped back, and I waited for the feeling to pass. It didn't. That night I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I felt like someone was standing in the corner of the room, perfectly still, patient, not rushing, not angry, just waiting for me to realize the rules had changed. Morning came, pale and gray. I went to work like a zombie. I told no one, because what do you even say? Hey, I think something followed me home last night. No. So I did what I always do when something doesn't make sense. I tried to control it. On my lunch break, I bought a second camera, a better one, a door sensor, 2 new locks, overkill. I didn't care. That evening I installed everything. Camera aimed at the living room from a different angle, door sensor on the frame, 1 lock on the top, 1 on the bottom, and I tested it. Open door, sensor beeps. Closed door, silent. I checked the apps. Everything synced. Then I sat on my couch with the lights on, like a little kid waiting for thunder. Nothing happened. Hours passed. I started to feel stupid again. I went to bed. This time I left the camera feed open on my phone. Brightness low, just enough to see. I watched the live view until my eyes burned. Nothing. Then, around 3 a.m., the screen froze, just for a second, and the indicator blinked. 1 blink, like an eye. My stomach dropped. The live view resumed, but the angle was different. Not by much, just slightly, like the camera had been nudged. I sat up, staring at the screen, then stared across my bedroom at the doorway, expecting something to be there. Nothing. I got out of bed, walked to the living room. The camera was exactly where I placed it. I checked the mount. Tight. No wobble. I checked the other camera. Same. I walked back to my room, trying not to run. And when I got to the bedroom door, I froze. Because the door sensor app showed my front door had opened 2 minutes ago. I stared at the log. Open. Close. Just those 2 events. No alarm. No sound. I didn't hear it. I walked to the front door. Chain still latched. Deadbolt still locked. New locks untouched. There was no way it opened. But the log said it did. I stood there with my hand on the door, listening so hard my ears ached. And then, quietly, from the other side, I heard something. Not knocking, not footsteps. A slow scrape, like someone's fingernail dragging down painted wood. I backed away, not fast. Just one step, then another, and I realized my breathing was too loud. I covered my mouth. The scraping stopped. Then, in the silence, I heard it. A small, careful exhale, right outside my door, like someone was leaning in, listening to me breathe. I didn't move. I didn't speak. I stayed there, staring at the door like staring harder could make it stronger. Then my phone buzzed again. Camera alert. Motion detected. I looked down at my screen. The clip loaded. I hit play. It was my hallway camera. The lens pointed at my front door from inside, and the video showed my door closed, locked, chain latched. But there was something else in the frame, a shadow, standing too close to the door. Not mine, because I wasn't in the hallway. I was inside, near the living room. This shadow was pressed up against the door from the inside, like someone was already in my apartment, standing between me and the exit. The clip ended. I felt my knees go weak. That was the moment I finally understood. It didn't matter how many locks I added. It didn't matter how many cameras I installed. Because whatever followed me home, it didn't come through the door. I backed into my bedroom and shut the door, hands shaking so hard I almost missed the knob. I stayed in there until morning, sitting on the floor, phone clutched in both hands, listening for any sound at all. Nothing came. No footsteps. No scraping. No door opening. Just silence. Morning sunlight hit the wall, and I convinced myself it was over. I convinced myself I'd imagined it. I walked out of my bedroom slowly. Living room empty. Kitchen empty. Hallway empty. Front door still locked. I laughed once, weak and shaky, and then I saw it. On the inside of my front door, a faint smear right at eye level, like something oily had touched it, like a palm print, but not human. Too long, too narrow. I didn't touch it. I didn't even breathe. I just stared. Then I grabbed my keys, grabbed my wallet, and left. I didn't go to work. I didn't go to a friend's. I drove aimlessly for an hour, trying to decide if I was losing my mind. And the whole time, I kept checking my mirrors, because I had this new fear, not that something was in my apartment, but that the apartment had never been the point, that it wanted me to know it could do it, follow me, anywhere. Eventually, I went back, because I didn't know what else to do. I parked, walked up, climbed the stairs, and I stood outside my door, listening. Silence. I unlocked it, opened it, stepped inside. The air felt normal, almost. And then I saw my living room camera, still on, still facing the room. Its little light, steady. I opened the app, no new clips, no log of movement, nothing, like the whole night never happened. I stared at the recordings list, scrolling back, searching for the clip of the hallway shadow. It was gone, not deleted, not corrupted, just not there. I checked the cloud, nothing. I checked the local storage, nothing. Like the camera had decided that moment never existed. And then, right as I stared at the screen, the live view blinked. Once, slow, deliberate, and a new clip appeared. Dated, tomorrow. I didn't open it. I couldn't, because in that second, I understood what it wanted. It wanted me to keep watching, keep checking, keep obsessing. It wanted me to build my life around it. I deleted the app. I unplugged the cameras. I ripped the sensors off the door. I threw everything in a trash bag and took it outside. Then I went back in and sat in the middle of my living room, lights on, hands shaking, trying to decide if I was done, trying to decide if I was safe. That's when I heard it. A quiet sound behind me. Not a footstep, not a breath. A soft, patient shift, like someone changing their stance. Right in the corner of the room. I didn't turn around. I didn't need to, because I felt it, in the way the air changed, in the way my skin prickled, in the way my whole body wanted to run. And in the silence, I heard something else. A faint, almost amused exhale, like it was close enough to know I was smiling the wrong kind of smile, the kind you make when you realize you're trapped. I moved out a week later. New place, new locks, no cameras. I told myself it was a fresh start. I told myself leaving would break whatever connection it had. And for a while, it felt like it worked. Until the first night in my new apartment, when I unlocked the door, stepped inside, and felt the air get heavier, like something had been waiting there already, like it had never been about the building, never been about the cameras, just about me. It never left.